Um, so we have Steve, also known as Developer Steve. He'll be talking about Braintree, about e-commerce, and from experience, I've known Steve for a fair while now, and he does some fantastic presentations, so feel free to tweet away. Take it away, Steve. When you get your microphone working.
When I get my microphone working. Oh, it's not very loud. Hello, everyone! Okay, that's not enough. We're good. Hello. How is everyone doing? No? Okay, so I'm going to have to tell a developer joke. How do you, everyone JavaScripts, I know you all do because JavaScript's cool. Woo! How do you comfort a JavaScript bug? You console it. No. There we go. How is everyone doing? Oh, I'd tell more, but I can't remember any right now. No. I am Developer Steve, also known as Stephen Cooper, occasionally, usually at security checkpoints at airports. I am developer advocate, developer evangelist for PayPal and Braintree. You have no doubt heard of this company. I'm from it. PayPal, we've been doing payments quite a long time, and today we're going to look at that because it's actually kind of an interesting history how that actually happened. And I think there's something in the story, so we're going to look at that today. Some amazing APIs. So we've had all our SDKs open source since 2009. Again, it's going to be in the time traveling part of today's little talk. But yeah, we've some amazing APIs. Adaptive payments, one of my favorites, lets you do chain payments, which is basically you can be eBay. So you can be the conduit between buyer and seller and take a cut on the way through because, woo, money. And I'm from Braintree. So PayPal bought Braintree about 2.5 years ago. Basically the easiest integration for payments you will ever do inside code. 12 lines of code, you can do PayPal, credit card, Apple Pay, Android Pay, and Bitcoin. And that's only the ones we've got integrated now. There are more coming. And as soon as, the good thing with the integration is, as soon as we add new things into our stack, it's automatically available in your integration. You literally just switch it on and it's there. So users can pay any way they want. Used inside Uber, Airbnb, GitHub, just to name drop. It is really cool. The easiest integration I ever do in a minute 20. And today I'm doing it with wizards, just because wizards. But I thought I'd talk quickly about what I do, because I don't have kind of a normal job. And I use the term job loosely, because what I do is kind of fun. I basically get to travel around speaking to groups of amazing developers like yourselves. So I travel through all of Asia Pacific. Bag selfies are now a thing. That's basically, I live out of luggage. No, it sounds glamorous, I know, haha. But yeah, I get to travel around talking to groups of developers. So I go to conferences, I hang out with devs, I do some code, I get to mentor startups. It's kind of interesting. And being able to network and meet amazing devs and find out some really cool ideas and be able to share those around, really cool. So how much do I travel? Yeah, that's basically my last 18 months. I've done 300,000 kilometers through Asia Pacific, through parts of Europe, to the US multiple times. Mothership's in San Jose, and Braintree Mothership is in Chicago. So I do travel around quite a bit. 77% of the way to the moon now. I don't know what the next planet is after it's going to be a while before I get to another one. The next planet? Mars? There we go. And I attend a lot of events. So I've done 92 events. That's the only the ones that I've actually got on there. But yeah, 92 events in the last 18 months. So I get to travel around, speaking at a lot of events. I sponsor a lot of events, hackathons, conferences, meetups, you name it. If the devs are there, I'm usually not far away. And code samples, so I still dev. I'm a full stack developer. I came from agency world previously. I write code. I like writing code. Being able to do really cool things in innovative spaces is generally interesting. It's generally fun. And I get to help launch new products. So I get to take new products out to developer circles. We launched this one recently, PayPal Me. I don't know if everyone is familiar with it or saw it. It basically allows you to use PayPal to accept money from anyone you need to accept money from. So you can register your own URL. You have PayPal Me/username. And then after that, you can do a URL hack and have an amount in. So you can basically send someone a link, comes up with a screen, they can pay you that amount. More recently, which works something like that. So you can put a slash in at the end, and that's my 2 cents. Haha. I did that pun recently at a hackathon in Wollongong, Hackagong, and by the time I got off the stage, someone paid me. No one paid me this time. I totally was not expecting, got off, and there's a tweet from someone saying, and that's my 2 cents worth. And I was like, yeah, okay, well played. Have some swag. Oh, okay. Oh, we're going back. Time travel. There we go. That's my 2 cents. Woo! So anyway, I thought today we'd just go through the history of where it all began, because we are a big company. Like, we've been doing payments for quite some time, and I thought where it actually started is actually kind of interesting, because it starts with two people with an idea. Like, it didn't start with a big organization or even, you know, somebody with a lot of money wanting to do something really cool in the world. It literally started, not with a dev. This is the character for our story. So this is Alan Developer, a dev. Aha. And he has an idea. But, like, where do you start to take an idea? Like, how can one person make such a big difference in the world, being able to, you know, go forth and massively change something like online payments, or changing something really basic? Like, imagine the guys when they started Uber. That started with an idea as well. And it was a bootstrapped idea that they then got funding for, they then got traction for, and then had to deal with all the stuff they're dealing with now. But, like, that started with an idea. Yeah, I knew there was sound there. So to do this, we're going to use a bit of time travel technology. This is, of course, Dr. Fez hat. Yeah, you may recognize it from this presentation. Yeah. Dr. Fez hat's going to help us time travel and go back and have a look where PayPal started, where we began. And we're going to go for a little timey-wimey spin. So it all started with these two. Wait for Dr. Fez hat to arrive. This is what you do on 14-hour flights. You do amazing. This is all done in PowerPoint, I might add, and I did my own sound effects. So it all started with Peter Thiel and Max Levin. And basically, they had, back in the day, back in 1998, they had PDAs. And I know most of you are probably not going to remember that. I am going to, oh, you do? Okay. Most of you won't remember those, but yeah, you basically had I'm going to say smartphone, but yeah, they were early days. And a stylus. Yeah, styluses came back again, and I was like, whoa, we were there. But yeah, they had PDAs, and they thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could do payments? Or they had Palm Pilots, but yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we could use them as a digital wallet? And like now, we kind of look at it and go, makes sense. You know, we do it every day. We don't even think about it now. Back then, they didn't have that. Back then, they were like, well, we want to use it. Why don't we build it? Why don't we create it? So they did. Digital wallets. So back in 1998, they had this idea to create digital wallets, a way to be able to send each other money through their early smart devices. And by October of 1990, wait for Dr. Fezhat to arrive. That may get slightly annoying. I can speed it up. So by 1999, they had scaled to the point where they built this idea out to create a company. The company was called Confinity. So basically, they developed this way to be able to send each other money through their mobile devices, through their early mobile devices. And like, this is back in the time when WAP websites were a thing, where you'd have like these really low-scale websites to be able to load web pages really quickly, really over very minimal amounts of data. I think the data limit back then on a mobile plan was like 100 KB. Like, it was really tiny. So Confinity was born, and it was basically a way to for users to be able to scale out and be able to send each other money. Yay. And this is where most good ideas begin, is it's just something you will build because it makes sense to you and something you want to be able to use. And like even stuff I've created in the past were literally an idea that I wanted to do that no one else was doing, and I thought, makes sense. And then along the way, more people started to see what was happening and were like, hey, why don't we just start, can we use that? You know, why can't we be able to do that too? One of the things that I developed previously, and this was literally just a side project to some stuff I was doing to my day job, so to my career, as I always call it. Career to me has always been a way to pay the bills while I do cool startup things, or just work on ideas that potentially will lead to a startup down the track. And so one of the things I worked on previously that started to get some attention was a thing I called CopyTwit. So this was basically a way to manage multiple Twitter accounts from one account. I would put a tweet into my main account with a hashtag on it. My script would see the hashtag, delete the tweet from that account, and move it to another account. Pretty basic. I could manage like 15 accounts from one account. But along the way, my followers started to see these tweets appear in my stream, disappear and appear in another account, other accounts that they were following. And so they were like, well, we want to do that too. We're running online stores. We're doing business on Twitter. Can we use it as well? So along the way, I was able to build that out and had other people using it, which is pretty cool. January 2000. So eBay, oh wait, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to get annoying. You get the time travel part. So along the way, eBay started to notice what they were doing and was like, well, eBay's a marketplace. They need payments. So eBay basically approached them and said, you know, we want to be able to do it too. Can you integrate with us? Could you imagine? They've taken this idea from a PDA smart device that they just built because it made sense and they wanted to use it. eBay approaches them and says, can we do it too? You imagine what they were thinking at that time. You imagine having an idea, even just a basic notion build out, and then suddenly a big company like eBay. eBay was still growing at this stage, but it was well known. You get back like the backing of a company like that, people are really going to start paying attention. March 2000. Very exciting thing happened. Just after 2 years, just over 2 years, 1 million users. The next big problem. Imagine your idea suddenly hitting 1 million users. You've got a whole other set of problems you've suddenly got to deal with. You've got to deal with scale. You've got to deal with security. You've got to deal with compliance. Like, there is a whole other suite of issues. Nice problem to have. Your idea has suddenly gone from 0 to 1 million users in like just over 2 years. You're scaling well. So March 2001. And this is the start of, again, this is like a whole other set of problems. And something I always tell devs, like devs can come up with some amazing ideas, and I've seen loads at all the hackathons we run over. We run a hackathon around the world called Battle Hack, with shirt that I'm wearing today. And I was wearing them yesterday. I have a few of them in my luggage selfie. But yeah, we run Battle Hack, so we see a lot of really innovative ideas from around the world. In Japan this year, I saw one of the most unique things I've ever seen. So we ran Battle Hack Tokyo, and like I knew we were into seeing some interesting stuff. But this is probably one of the most interesting, and the concept was it was very unique. Robotic rabbit ears, yeah, bear with me, that basically used alpha waves, that had a brain sensor in it, so you could pick up your alpha waves, and the more happy you were while you're watching a movie, the more you paid for the movie. So, and the ears themselves would actually move to show that you were enjoying what you're seeing. Yeah, we see a lot of really, really unique ideas from around the world. Yes. It does, but I guess trying to train your alpha waves to not show enjoyment like an enjoyment wave is tricky. You would need to do the thumbtack in the foot to avoid the lie detector. Yeah, it was a very, very interesting idea, and I've never seen it anywhere else yet. Similar. Yeah, I think the idea was definitely worth exploring more. I haven't seen anyone use brainwaves for commerce much yet. May have been an early adopter. So yeah, one of the things I always tell developers is like once you start with a good idea, there's a whole other thing, like whole other suite of things you have to then look at. Is like, if that idea builds out, you've got to build a company, you've got to security, compliance, the insurance side of things. This is the next step. This was the next step, is basically how do you start to add some layers of security. So this is where the early captchas came from. So they came up with a way to prevent fake accounts from signing up by having a non-machine readable sentence come up, and basically it would stop sort of the automated bots from signing up to early PayPal. And that's where the early captures came from. They came out of the need to do this. Of course, like that example right now, you easily get around with using current technologies. And I guess as this has improved, the ways machines to be able to read this stuff is really, really sort of picked up. And yeah, it's always resetting the bar for how that works. Yay, time travel. So 2002, exciting time. PayPal goes public. So this is the first time that PayPal, and it's now reaching, like it's now sort of scaled really, really well. They IPO'd. Well, we IPO'd the first time. So we IPO'd just recently, and we've now currently separated from eBay, and we're now a publicly traded company again. But this was the first time. And then, so once we publicly listed the first time, eBay then realized they really, really love this so much, they just buy the company. So that's where, this is the first time, and again, this is an idea that eBay spotted, and then suddenly gone, yeah, we really need you to the point where we need to buy you. No one else can use you. No, everyone can use you, but we're going to buy you. We need you as part of our platform. We need to be able to do business using PayPal, which is pretty cool. And so this is where we started to expand operations. Like as it's grown through North America, other people from other countries started to see what was happening, and they're using a platform like eBay, where they were using PayPal, but having to transact sort of internationally. This is where the scale starts to happen. So this is, again, the idea building out through the entire world. So launched in Britain. The most exciting thing about May 2004, though, is we launched a developer program. So this is the first time when we were already doing cool things with devs, but PayPal started to realize that we needed to release our services and be able to let other developers, other companies, other independent developers, freelance developers, be able to do cool things with the API, because that's where the innovation comes from. You get to build cool stuff when you open up a developer program and allow devs to play, find bugs, get them fixed. But yeah, you'll be able to build cool services, and you innovate and do things in whole new ways. So I thought I'd do a quick demo about how one of our first APIs worked. Now, I don't actually have the original API that launched in 2004, because they've evolved a little bit since then. But I can show you, actually I'm going to show you the demo that I showed Mats, the creator of Ruby, when we did Battle Hack Tokyo. So we had Mats, who created Ruby, do a keynote, and then was sitting in the audience, and they were like, well, you've got to do a stage demo to show everyone how PayPal works. And I was like, wow, no pressure. So I used Ruby, which of course wasn't around in 2004, but yeah, you get the idea. So hopefully, I have internet. Yes, I do. Oh, but the screen's not doing screen things. Let me see if I can fix that quickly. Hooray. It works. All right, how many, is anyone using Ruby? Okay, we have one person. It's really easy, I'll show you how it works. Ruby's awesome, by the way. PHP's good too. Python's also good. All of them are good. Woo. I have demos of all this stuff, including, there's another demo that I'll show you later, on my GitHub too. So if anyone wants to go get it or play with it, and I'm more than happy to do more demos later. Essentially, this is Ruby. You've got a bunch of gems. Basically, the gems from Ruby install sort of packages that let you do Ruby things. Like this installs the functionality for you to be able to use Ruby and extend it, and et cetera, et cetera. In this one, I'm calling in the PayPal SDK, of course, and then Awesome Print, and I'm using Sinatra, which is like Rails, a bit lighter and a bit more portable, but it's basically like Rails. Less of a framework, I guess you could say. I've got a single, whoa, that's big text, still looks all right. I've got a single app file, which basically just has in it, I'm creating a PayPal instance, I'm doing a PayPal transaction. So I'm passing in some basic URLs, dynamic URLs here, and then just sending through that it's going to be a PayPal sale and how much for, and I'm using Japanese yen because, well, it was a demo for Japan, and a basic description. Once that call happens, I get a payer ID back from PayPal that I then use to do a redirect URL. So basically, you'll see a button, user will see a button, they click the button, they go to the pay with PayPal, log in, or just pay with credit card screen, do the transaction, and then redirected back. Or they hit cancel, and they're redirected back with, the cancellation screen. Pretty easy. And then I've got like an index file where I'm doing the URL, which is, and of course I'm bootstrapping because mobile responsive, everyone should be mobile responsive, just saying. And then I'm, loading in the redirect URL there. So let's try demo time. Start the server and cross fingers that the demo gods are happy. Because live demos. Hooray. And it worked. So, PayPal button's here. It's already done the call to PayPal, gotten the payer ID, which I'll use to do the redirect, which hopefully will, huzzah. I've got my test credentials, which will go here. I hit continue, and then it should redirect me back and say, yep, thanks for purchasing. And that's it. Yay, the demo gods were happy. So really, really simple integration. That was basically a more evolved version of what was launched in 2004. But that really basic interaction allowed devs to interact with PayPal in whole new ways and allow it to be built out into multiple platforms. So it can be built into small to medium businesses. It can be built into like all places in the internet, places the original founders may not have originally perceived. Like they were originally thinking smartphones. But all of a sudden, developers had the ability to build it out in whole new directions, like things we weren't even thinking about. And it's no different today. We see some of our services being built into things like rabbit ears in Japan. I'd never even thought about using brainwaves, rabbit ears, and movies before. But it opens up whole new avenues and whole new ideas. And developers are able to share those ideas as well. So taking the brainwave component, how can you adapt that into everyday things around you? It's particularly with the IoT sort of industry building like it is. It opens up whole new avenues for you to be able to do stuff and monetize it. 2005, Australia. You know how hard it was to do a pixel flag for Australia? That took a few goes. I literally was flying back to Singapore and I spent about an hour doing that one. It's close. 8-bit flags, Australia, the Union Jack's a little bit tricky. So first time we've launched in Australia, which was really cool because again, it's us sort of expanding through the world as users have needed it to happen. So we've had to set up shop here, or not have to, we've set up shop here because there were so many people using us here. We needed to have the support here. We needed to build out operations. So office in Sydney is still the office we've been in since 2005. Which is 1 York Street, amazing view of the Harbour Bridge. When I'm not traveling, I usually go back there, which it's been a little while. I think I'm going back there on Thursday. Yay. But yeah, so we've set up shop in Australia. We've increased security. So 2005, we also, we've bought VeriSign, which I'm sure a few may have heard of. So VeriSign we're doing a lot in the security sort of end of the internet. Some really cool things. And that basically added, again, more layers of security to the service because it was needed at the time. We started to need to secure what we were doing and secure our users because we're growing massively at this stage, growing throughout the world. There's also a number of issues as you grow out through different countries. You need to start, there's different PCI requirements. You need to start working with, well, you're already working with a lot of governments. There's a lot of red tape you have to go through for the PCI side of things. 2006. PayPal goes mobile. So for the first time, or for the second time, we start to support smartphones. So early PDAs were where it all started. And again, we started to see the boom of smartphones start to come in. So iPhones, Android was starting to do its thing. The Windows mobile phones, looking at what they were doing and trying to work out how 7.5 was still a thing. But yeah, we're basically having to do more interactions with smartphones. So we basically launched a service to be able to text money. And at the same time, we're also growing, still growing through more markets. So 103 markets at this stage. That's in 2006. Amazing animations. The special effects for this, oh. 2008, yeah, we skipped a few. There was a lot of expansion happening in between, but 2008, it's still expanding globally. We're now in basically many, many, many countries in 24 currencies. 2010, million users on iPhone. So iPhone at this stage had already started building out. Adaptation to iPhone had like exploded. Oh, did I? Not long after, of course, Android started to become more mature, and we were able to support that in whole new ways. Speed that one up. And of course, I still love both the same. Any iPhone developers? iOS developers? Android developers? Oh, one. Any Windows Phone developers? Yay, Windows Phone. I originally had a Windows CE. I made Jam many years ago. Stylus, back when styluses were cool the first time around. So 2011, of course, we'd already been working with mobile for quite some time by that stage. Mobile payments hit $4 billion. So this is 2011. We'd already started to see such growth in mobile, and of course now it is absolutely booming. There's a slide coming for that one. But mobile had exploded 2011, $4 billion worth of payments, US. You could say it had really taken off. Ha ha. May 2012. Now this was an exciting one because as mobile had grown, we've seen a lot of merchants want to do what's known as in-person payments. So they not only wanted to be able to accept PayPal through phone, through mobile apps, but also in-person payments. Now this is the third generation of PayPal here. 2012, we launched the first generation, which in North America is basically a little audio jack triangle. So you plug it into the top of your iPhone, your Android. You'd have a mobile app you would use that would allow you to basically swipe a credit card. So you type in amount, swipe a credit card, and it would pass unencrypted card from the magnetic stripe card data to a mobile app that would then be used to do a transaction. This is the third generation. So the little triangle was great. It sent unencrypted card data via audio. These they were not allowed to be used in UK and Australia because they were sending unencrypted data at the chip head to the device. These ones, however, were different. So this is the third generation. The second generation of this, a white device, which I did have, but I gave away at a hackathon. It basically, as soon as you swipe card data, it encrypts the data, sends it to the device via Bluetooth, that then does the transaction. So the difference is the encryption happens at the chip head with these. The third generation that we launched 3 weeks ago, also has contactless NFC, and should accept some of the wearable NFC devices when they launch in different countries as well. We actually have an SDK for this as well. Now, we didn't launch that in 2012. It was still early days, but we've had an SDK available for about a year and a half. It's just gone into version 1.6. It's available on GitHub, so you can we get a lot of community feedback for them. But yeah, we've got SDK for Android, iOS. Who's using it? Tesla's using this in Australia to do transactions. Like someone bought a car with this 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I kid you not. I was like, wow, okay, cool. Can I film it? But yeah, companies like Tesla are building their own apps using our SDK to do in-person payments using PayPal here. So being able to accept credit card, swipe, chip and pin, or contactless, and then also the wearable, being able to do transactions, which is pretty cool. Again, this opens it up for developers to be able to do some amazing things. Companies like Vend, who actually use these through 3 countries. And the US has just gotten a chip and pin, so there's a whole bunch of news articles in the last week or so of everyone going, hey, your cards are more secure now. These support it. And so North America is currently getting these as well. Australia got it first. Woo, Australia. So 2013, we bought Braintree. Yes. Oh, they hadn't finished getting there yet. So yeah, we bought Braintree. So basically, Braintree had been doing payments for a while by this stage. But it was to the point where their merchant users, their users were saying, well, can we pay via more methods? We want other digital wallets to be available inside the integration. So Braintree were doing credit card payments, but then they started working with us to see how we could integrate our service, because PayPal basically is a digital wallet. Along the way, we kind of realized they were doing amazing things. So why don't we just buy them? So at this point, we bought Braintree. How that works. Oh, I didn't use wizards in this one. Oh, Dr. Fezhat's going to tell us how that works. So you go to the sandbox. You set up a sandbox account, because it all starts with sandbox. Tests, got to do testing. You grab your merchant credentials, so you test credentials, which is basically a key. You drop that into some code. We're going to use PHP for this one. So you call in your PHP SDK, drop in your creds, generate a client token. So this is basically using your merchant credentials. You generate a client token that you then use inside some JavaScript. There should be a client token in it. Okay, there it is. So yeah, inside the JavaScript call, you configure it using client token. Essentially, this is a really, really long string that basically authenticates you as the merchant that needs to do the transaction, keeps everything nice and safe and secure for the user. Basically, it authenticates things like session, user browser IDs. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there basically meant to keep the user nice and safe and secure. What that generates is this wonderful little box on the right. Not the one on the left, that's my meme. But the one on the right, that little load that just happened, that was Braintree loading inside an iframe, inside some JavaScript on your web page. So that's all you basically need to create this nice little PCI compliant, secure little box. Type in your credit card. No one copy that one down, that's my sandbox one, just kidding. User types in their credit card, hit submit. That sends off to the Braintree server. You get back a payment method nonce hidden inside a hidden little field attached to the form. You use that as part of your post data, and you do transaction. Easy. There's another step you can add to that to basically do what Uber do. So with Uber, you create an account, you attach a payment method using exactly the same method that then stores inside the Braintree vault. The developer gets back a token. The token is then used to do consistent transactions. So as soon as you basically book the car, you get in, you get out, transaction happens. That's it. Magic. All inside the Braintree vault. So no credit card is ever stored, or no financial information is ever stored on the server side. It's all stored inside the Braintree vault, which is all nice and safe, nice and secure. That's it. And everyone wins. Oh. That was the one I was supposed to. Yes, everyone wins. Yay. So 2013. Now the next bit is basically just us growing out. So as developers have gotten a taste for how this stuff works, and as we've been working with companies like Uber, phenomenal growth happens. So this is where the traction side starts and you really start to grow. So 2013. We've basically grown $27 billion in mobile volume. So in 2 short years, we've seen mobile go from $4 billion to $27 billion. And this is basically as consumers have gotten a taste for mobile. And as mobiles become more powerful, lower cost, and they've really adopted to it. So we've all basically loved the fact that we can have portable internet like wherever we go. And I know I'm extremely lost without it now. No matter which country I go through, I've always got internet. Yay. So mobile is really gone out of this world. Aha. March 2014. Move them to arrive. So Braintree at this stage has got 56 million credit cards in the vault, basically. So we've got that many cards stored now, and we're able to help that many users transact as they need to. So in things like Airbnb, Uber, anytime they need to do a transaction, it's literally just a button press, or not even, like Uber, you get out of the car, and that's it. Driver hits finish. $56 million in cards in the vault. PayPal has over 150 million active PayPal accounts globally by this stage. So we are currently through a lot of countries. So recently, Bill Reddy, head of merchant and consumer inside PayPal, did an article, did an interview, which resulted in an article. Basically, now we have 154 million cards on file, like in our vault. So we've got that many users that basically use our client services, and we facilitate the tokens for the transactions to happen. By the end of the year, over $50 billion in authorized payments just for Braintree. That's the estimated amount we're going to be hitting. That's how much we're processing a year now. Yeah, I think they went in the wrong sequence. They did a bit of time travel there. So that's basically the story. And just to think that $50 million, like that Braintree acquisition, again, that came out of an idea. That came out of Braintree wanting to be able to work with developers to find new ways to integrate with services and do really cool things. Braintree basically is built by developers for developers. So the idea behind that 12 lines of code is being able to make things easy for the users. A lot of the PayPal services, again, we're constantly working with developers. That's what I do, is go around to communities and find out new ways that we can make our services better and ways that I can help developers, be awesome. You guys are awesome. So what I say to you, go forth and build amazing things. Like you're all, a lot of you is just starting out on your developer journey. You've got good ideas. You don't have a lot of the industry connotations. Like, go forth and build amazing things. Think of things that you would use that you could build out, or even just build new things in the ways that you want to use services. You want to use. I'm happy to work with you to see how that can even build out. So, one of my favorite quotes. This is from. Oh, it's a little bit of an old book now. But the 3 most dangerous things in the world are a programmer with a soldering iron, a hardware engineer with a software patch, and a user with an idea. And in these days of scalable, cheap, scalable services, you can be all 3. So you can be your own worst enemy. And possibilities are endless. I know I keep harping on about this, but seriously, when you're dealing with tech like this, so I don't know if many of you have seen IoT stuff now. I did a lot of IoT talks last year. I spent a few months touring around talking IoT, which is an amazing, fun place. It's moving extremely quickly. And I was even accepted at South by to speak at South by this year just on IoT, sort of scalable cloud networks, localized networks, well, the fog, which is offline cloud, basically. But you're dealing with stuff like this now. So I got one of these in January, and these are worth about $4. This is an ESP8266, and I know you all can't see it. It's tiny. You can buy a bag of these for $20, $30. That has Wi-Fi built into it. So that tiny little chip, you can build into just about anything with a really low-powered, sort of low battery to be able to power it. And you can do just about anything with this. Light switches, you can even get apples to spin. You can do all sorts of things in whole new ways. Think of the possibilities of that. And that's basically me. Thank you very much. Oh, and I've got 3 minutes for questions. I'll be around most of the day anyway, so if there aren't any questions. Oh, there is a question. Yeah, and that basically comes down to a lot of the different countries too, and how we work with governments in every country we operate in to be able to meet different regulations. I know in Australia we work very closely with the government. We even get various types of independent auditing. There is a lot of different country-specific regulation around what we do, where we do it, and how we do it. Yeah, I guess that's part of a bigger conversation depending on the country, but it is something we do work very closely with government with. Does that answer the question? Probably not really. Yeah, it seems like you're after a particular answer. Yeah, and that is a very huge discussion. Particularly when you're dealing through interchange, and international movement of money, and between which country to which country, there's a whole other. We have teams of people basically working on how that happens, where that happens. There's a lot of logistics behind that. Oh, and I'm being told I have to. No question? No. Uh, so Sydney, and Sydney is actually, I wasn't going to say anything about recruitment because, yeah. There's about 8, 9 devs in Sydney. Basically, the way the developer teams work inside PayPal is there's teams sort of set up in the mothership in San Jose, but then there's teams, parts of those teams will work globally because we work across so many time zones. The good thing is we can have people basically awake at all times, like different time zones. So there's teams that do work globally. Like this team that will work globally will work out of Tokyo, India, Sydney, San Jose, UK, big contingent in the UK, and then across other multiple regions. And the good thing with that is we are able to offer regional specific opinions, views about how products are shaped. How many devs globally? I don't have a number, but it's going to be a lot. Basically, for security alone, there's 14 buildings in the mothership in San Jose. There's an entire building just for security. And it's so secure. I haven't even seen the DevOps room. I've only heard legends of big giant screens and scalability. I know I build servers as well. I know some of the server stats, which I can't share with you just yet, but even I looked at it and went, wow, okay. We're talking per second, a lot of requests, a lot of transactions, plus the security sides of that as well, which, particularly doing the stuff we do to the scale we do. Which one? Swift? Sorry, I can't quite hear. Bank transfers? Okay, I can't quite hear, but we can talk. Oh, Swift bank transfer. Oh, yeah, I know them. I don't know. I'd have to check. I'm sure we'd have some sort of integration with them. Yeah. Anyway, that's about me because I think the next speaker's about to come up. Last 2 slides. 8-bit cats with lasers because cats with lasers, and that is me. Thank you very much.